Chicago Bears Overreaction Monday, more like a devastation Monday, coming at you here on Chicago Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham. Some final thoughts, news, takeaways, storylines emerging following the brutal Hail Mary loss to Jayden Daniels and the Washington Commanders, 18-15. I'm Harrison Graham. We're going to dive into all of it here in just a moment. But first, I do want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. We crossed 106,000 subscribers during our watch party yesterday. It was emotional. It was a roller coaster, the highs, the lows, the devastation. But you guys are ride or die for me, so we appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do so. Free and daily Bears content. And for those of you who have, hit that notification bell. That's going to notify you on your phone, tablet, etc. exactly when we go live and when we publish videos. So hit the noties and join the Noti gang. All right, Overreaction Monday. Should the Bears bench Tyrique Stevenson? I'm going to go 3 smoking J's, and 4 is the max here. The reason I'm going 3 is the answer is yes. I would bench him, but I wouldn't make it a permanent benching. Like, I don't know, bench him for the first quarter, bench him for the first half, start Terrell Smith next week, whatever you want to do. I do think you should do something because this cannot happen. This cannot happen. It's kind of blurry, but it's like a 3-part. It's first, Tyrique is pointing to the crowd, then he's doing some kind of pose, and the ball has been snapped by then, and in some weird, twisted fate, he is the one who sprints over and tips the ball to Noah Brown, and we found out today, both from Matt Eberflus and Tyrique Stevenson, that he was the one who was supposed to box out Brown. So it wasn't even his place to begin with to be the jumper to knock the play away. So it's just it's a horrible lapse in judgment. It's an awful moment for him, but I don't think it's one that should, like, you know, get him cut or end his career or anything like that. Like, I like Tyrique Stevenson overall. I like the edge he plays with, but clearly he's got to rein that in, and the coach has got to rein it in a little bit too. Like, hey, we want you to be edgy, but you toe that line a lot, and this time was an example of you crossing that line, and that can't happen. You can't have these type of plays cost you big wins in the NFL. It's unacceptable. Tyrique Stevenson did put out a statement last night. He said, to Chicago, my teammates, my apologies for lack of awareness and focus. Game ain't over until zeros at the clock. Can't take anything for granted. Notes taken. Improvement will happen. Bear down. And I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt moving forward. Here's what he had to say today, speaking to the media. He said the brief message is talking about his message to his teammates. I apologize to the boys for letting them down. I let the moment get too big, and it's something that can never happen and won't ever happen again. I understand the anger, talking about the outside noise. I'm worried about the opinions in the building, which is what he should worry about. These guys got my back, and I'm moving forward. And again, I'm not saying, like, I'm just going to forget about this, but I am willing to move forward. Like, I like the player. I like the edginess. I think he's been a little up and down this year. I don't think he's having an awesome start to the year, but I like what he brings to the table. But he must be reprimanded. Matt Eberflus said today any punishment will be kept internal. They will not announce that publicly. I think you at least have to bench him to start the next game. I wouldn't make him inactive because, quite frankly, you kind of need him. Like, let's be honest, especially with Brisker and Gordon statuses, which we don't know what those are going to be. I would start Terrell Smith. I don't know if it's for a quarter, for a half. If he's playing well, maybe you play him the whole game. I like Terrell Smith too, but I think it's got to be more than just like, hey, we apologize, that's that. Like, I think you have to send a little bit of a message like, hey, this is not going to be allowed. So that is what I would do, quarter, half, whatever it is. I wouldn't make him inactive. I think you need him, but yeah, just a tough deal, and that's something he's got to own, and he's going to see that clip for a long time, and now it's up to him to see how he responds and how this team's going to respond to that ugly moment. Would you bench Tyrique Stevenson against Arizona? Type Y for yes, type in for no. I would, to at least start the game. Would I bench him permanently? I would not, because I still think he's your second best outside corner, but that's where I'm at. Pinned comment. You guys let me know what you think. All right, number 2. Is Matt Eberflus on the hot seat? I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say 4 smoking Jays, bear down, and we should say drinking Jays these days. This is our Smokin' Jay rumor meter, by the way, for any of you new subscribers. 0 Smokin' Jays means it's fake news. It's not realistic at all. 1 Smokin' Jay, it's barely true. It could happen, but it's pretty unlikely. 2 Smoking Jays, people were talking it could happen, it may not happen. 3 Smoking Jays, it's pretty likely, probably going to happen, which is where I think Tyrique Stevenson falls in. And then 4 Smoking Jays, bear down. I do think Matt Eberflus is, or at least should be, on the hot seat. I can't imagine following that loss, Ryan Poles is sleeping well at night. Like, because it's not just what happened at the end. That obviously screams loud and screams coaching mismanagement. But off the bye week, you're not ready to play. Your head coach is now 3-17 on the row. You continue to start slow offensively. Like, these are things that have to change. They have to improve, and it's just not happening right now. So coming up next, let's analyze Flus a little bit more through 2.5 seasons as this team's head coach and kind of take a look at where things sit. But first, do want to show some love to our sponsor, Game Time. Looking to go to a Bears game this year, Bulls, Blackhawks, comedy show, concert, anything that requires you to purchase a mobile ticket, Game Time is the best app out there. Download the Game Time app today and get started, because they got a couple of awesome features that are going to make getting tickets a seamless process. Go to the Game Time Picks little section, which makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play much easier. It'll filter out the fluff to show that you the best deals on the best seats, so you don't have to scroll through thousands of tickets. Whether you're getting tickets for a concert, comedy show, sporting event, or anything else, Game Time has you covered with super deals, which are the best bang for your buck, views from the seats, and last-minute tickets for the lowest price guaranteed. So download Game Time right now. Use code CHATSPORTS. Gets $20 off your first purchase only right now. That's code CHATSPORTS, all one word, $20 off. Terms apply. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It is game time. All right, let's take a look at Matt Eberflus's resume. It's not pretty, any way you slice it. It's 14-27 overall. I get year one was just you weren't going to have much of a chance to compete, but even that year you lost a bunch of close games. 3-17 on the road. I mean, that is just abysmal. 2-10 in the division, not good. And this one really stands out too. His record against teams that were above 500 when the Bears played them. So not necessarily where they finished, or like, for example, in week 1, they played the Niners his first year and beat them. They finished above 500. Those games don't count. When you played teams that were above 500 at the time of kickoff, he's 2-16. And one of those wins was against Minnesota and Josh Dobbs last year when they were 6-5. Right? Is that really some great win? And you won 12-10, by the way. I mentioned this on our video earlier. His best win by far is against Goff and the Lions last year. That's a good win at home. They kind of kicked their ass. Other than that, in big games against good teams, he's basically 0-for. And like, there's a high volume now. This isn't just 2 or 3 games. And then you compile that with this, where he's had 4 just, I would use the word catastrophic losses dating back to last year. According to ESPN's win probability, which fluctuates literally after every snap throughout the game, he has lost 4 games in which at some point in the fourth quarter, the Bears had a 91% or better chance to win. Broncos last year, 98.1%, lost that game. Detroit on the road, 98.2%, lost that game. Cleveland, 91%. Remember the Justin Jones play call? Lost that game. And then Washington yesterday, I know they get credit for taking a late lead, which is something they haven't always done in these close losses. Still, 96.4% chance, lost the game. Lost, like, these are losses that you suffer like once every 5 years as a team. These have all happened in the last, 20 games? Like, 4 of your last 20, 21 games have been like all-time bad losses. And so my conclusion is I think Flus is a nice guy. I think he's an excellent defensive coordinator. I really do. And defensive play caller. We have no evidence that he can be a high-level head coach. None. Which I outlined in a longer video earlier today. If you want to go check that out, subscribe, go to the content tab. So and if this continues, I don't see how you could keep him for a 4th season. So I ask you, should the Bears fire Matt Eberflus? Not even right now, but beyond this season. Like, should he get fired? Type F for fire or K for keep. I'd have to say right now, if it continues down this path, I can't imagine him getting a 4th year. All right, Braxton Jones, is he out for the season? Thank God that's fake news. He is not. He according to Ian Rappaport and others, avoided a major injury. Rap Sheet had the note first that he got good news today. He may miss a week or two, but it's not considered a major injury. He is week to week. Obviously, this is good news. Not because Braxton Jones is some dominant left tackle, and I don't even know if he's the long-term piece, but clearly he's one of your better offensive linemen. He's been playing pretty well this year. And let's face it, Karan Amagaji, that was a pretty big moment for him in terms of just like, that's a tough spot to go into. O-line's already struggling, team's already struggling, crowd's rocking, road environment for your first meaningful snaps. The PFF grades bear it out, the eye test bear it out. He was pretty overwhelmed. I mean, he was pretty overwhelmed. I mean, Ryan Poles heavily alluded to it after they drafted him, considering the injury, considering he was a player at Yale, that this first year was like largely going to be just like a let's get him ready for the NFL type of year, and that bared out. Now, I would again kind of sit here and say, well, shouldn't you have just kicked Matt Pryor out there then? Like, I get you don't want to shuffle multiple guys, and maybe initially, okay, give Amagaji a drive or two, see how it looks. And to his credit, as a run blocker, that play on the DeAndre Swift run, he sprung that loose, so that was a good rep for him. But it was not pretty, man. He flat out whiffed one time on just kind of a standard pass rush that got Caleb Williams hit hard. He was overwhelmed. Like, the moment was too big for him in that spot, which isn't that surprising. But, man, if Braxton's out, you're going to have to consider all your options. Now, I guess Amagaji would get more practice reps. Maybe you feel better about that if that's the case. But, man, if it's more of the same, I'm not sure you can put him back out there next week. If Braxton Jones is out, who should start at left tackle against Arizona? I would say, unless there's a lot of internal confidence, I think you'd have to go Pryor at left tackle and then someone else at guard. But the wild card in all this is, are all the guards okay? Like, is Tevin good to go? Bill Murray got dinged up. Kramer got dinged up at one point. Like, it'll kind of depend on your personnel. Does Nate Davis get back into the fold? I hope not, but you may not have a choice. But, man, luckily it wasn't a serious injury, and obviously you need a better effort out of Karan Amagaji if he does play. Okay, there you have it. Overreaction Monday here on Chicago Bears Now. Big questions coming for the second half of this season. Still a lot of time, but got to turn things around quickly. My name is Harrison Graham. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Bear down.